Hi, everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the album review for K-Rino's album Mind Vision. My name is Holden Stephan Roy. This is the Headspace podcast, the show where we break down new-ish hip-hop albums track by track, giving our thoughts and opinions on every single song. This time, it is K-Rino's Mind Vision album. I broke down the whole first 7 tracks of the album, gave a little bit of context into how familiar I am with K-Rino's music. I've done about 5 album reviews before this, and we did 1 interview with K-Rino, so if you haven't checked any of that, feel free to, check that after you've watched part 1 in this video, because, we need the watch time, please, please, please. Anyway, we're going to get through it real quick, because there's still 8 tracks left, and, want to get on with life. So, the truth is, I did make time for you. This is a side of K-Rino I wasn't expecting, because I don't know that in the albums I have covered we've gotten a more romantic, on the prowl K-Rino, and showing us how a dapper gentleman of his variety gets down. So I like how it just starts off, once again, we ready to travel down that road that many of us have gone down many times before, yet somehow we still continue to go, because love and dating and all that is kind of like that. This track, produced by Supreme Tracks, is smooth, and it has that kind of romance vibe where you just kind of want to sway to it. You could picture yourself doing a little slow dance with a lady to K-Rino. I don't think my girlfriend would be down, but some ladies would be down for this. I like the chorus too, like, I'm a busy, busy man, but I always got time for you. And that's a smart play, right? Because you're busy, right? So you got stuff going on in your life, you're working all the time, but even though you're busy, your priorities are shifted in such a way where you'll make time for the woman that matters to you. Now, a wise woman will hear these words and recognize a power player making time for her, and oof, I feel like K-Rino's a dapper fellow, and he's probably got a bunch of ladies in his hood that are interested in him. Actually, I have no idea. If anyone know how K-Rino does with the ladies, you let me know, because I'm very curious. But I feel like he's respectful. I feel like he's a one-woman kind of guy, at least at this phase in his life. And then he just drops into this fun flow. It's a story track. I remember the day that you walked in, I damn near fell down, busted my chin. I zeroed in and got ready to attack. The one right here had the whole package. And I'm like, it's funny, right? You just picture this cubicle like, his jaw drops. He sees this gorgeous girl. He's like, oh shit, that's the one. His hands got sweaty. He's nervous. He's staring, and he's like, do you go and tell her if you want? Man, looks shouldn't matter. The hell if they don't. He's like, this girl's too fine. I don't even care. I can't help it. Slow motion like a movie scene. Her skin was pristine, smooth, and clean. He's been looking for her all his life. It's just fun and airy. Like, K-Rino's dropping like this fun song about this girl he likes. And, he moves on a little bit. And it's like, if never knew a lady that I wanted this badly. If she got kips, yep, I'm the new daddy. And I love that line because it shows like he's willing to just take on any level of responsibility to please this person, and he devote that completely to her, which is K-Rino's a catch, yo. Here's some money, girl. Go buy some bundles because you deserve that. Your attractiveness put me like a perch snatch. Chasing you got my nerves racked. I'm calling in sick to a job I don't even work at. Yep, I'm a fool again. And I liked all of this because it's just like he's smitten. He's got this crush on this person, and he just has to go out there and charm her and do anything he can to impress her. And she's smart, but she's not scared of the hood. And then it drops back into the hook, and I'm just like, this is fun. This is such like an in it. Like, I want to hear more K-Rino love songs, and y'all can recommend me like the whole list, because I know you watching this probably already got like one ready to go. So put it in the comments. I'm looking forward to seeing it and inevitably checking it. So he gets the girl and he goes on this date with her, and he goes, so she's so special, he'd pick her up in a spaceship. I love it. But he doesn't dress up. He keeps it kind of basic. I said those lines backwards. It's fine. When she need me, I'm at the scene. Got a face that could be on a magazine. When she call, he's answering fast and clean. I'd be picking up the phone on a half a ring. I love how he's just so willing to be there. He's so eager. He's so happy to have it. And then he goes in and he sees this restaurant who comes through, and he looks up and he wishes he could have his girl, and he gives him a dap as as he passes back, because he's like, yeah, I remember when I was you, but now I'm not you. And I got this girl, and she sent me a picture, but not a nude picture. She sent me a classy one, because that's the right way to get it. But yo, if you want to send me nudes, please do. So it's just like K-Rino saying all the right things on wax. Wink, wink. Come on, send me those titty pics like every other man is. It's hilariously well classically done. Like, this song should get him laid. If it didn't get him laid, I'll be shocked. That's all I'm trying to say. And I just really enjoyed it. And then he takes shots at his ex, like his girlfriend now cooks food and his last one burnt food. And, you know, the ex-girl's pissed, like, you never treated me like this. And he's like, well, you were acting uppity for days. You need to use my new girl as a role model so that you can practice her ways and then you can cut out the drama and behave appropriately. And I'm like, that is a fun flex, K-Rino. I appreciated that a lot. This track is delightful. It's really easy to listen to. And I gave it a 4.5. Again, it's just another side of K-Rino I wasn't expecting. And it's cool, right? Because as he's kind of found, if we want to look at a bit of the story arc of the album, we go from a point like where there's a secret war, an attack on masculinity. He's got no complaints. He's comfortable within himself, therefore comfortable with his masculinity. And then showing men in this that to be a man is effectively walking around with no complaints, appreciating what you have, making time for the woman that you care about. It's like the secret war is there to attack it, and K-Rino on the last couple of tracks, or at least I think for a good rest of this album, is going to show you what it means to be a man. So he presents the progress of the problems for the first half up until we get to that. And I just think this album is really brilliantly put together in terms of being an effective vessel to explain maturity to people. Anyway, next track's called Connectivity. All right. So this is another one of the super flossy tracks. I'm going to preface this by saying I give it a 5 on 5. Anagenetics kills it on the beat. K-Rino just like drops it like, who is this guy? Somebody tell me. I'm on a quest to prove every legible word's connectable. You've stepped into a perpetual new data receptacle. My letter, you so indelible. It's registered, edible. Cash to compress the breath in from you until neck is lose strength and amassing so enemies can't harass me. And I digress. He's fucking killing it. He's strong. He's coming through with his geeky ass language that fucking appeals to me. And he's doing that thing where he lays into it like quest approved, legible, connectable, and he just like slams it in and he flows over the beat perfectly. However, I'll change into the baby me and still disable these weak fake MCs with 2 phrases using letters A through E. Do it. I want to hear you write some shit in baby talk, and I just want to see it. That's a bold claim. I'm willing to take like I'm willing to say that, you know, greatly underrated, yet I'm your favorite. I'll play with your brain and make it so basic that 1 + 1 will look complicated. I believe K-Rino can do that with words. I want to actually see him do the 2 phrases using letters A through E line, because that sounded like a little hyperbolic beyond what my little brain could handle. So anyway, truthfully, that what could you do to me? Like, I'm like the super Jews at the podium reading the Reaper's eulogy. It's fire. Everything else in this song is fire. Everything else is brilliant. I'm not even gonna lie. Check the feeds that my head retrieves. Enemies not yet conceived, calling and threatening me. He does. He has this little fucking hater guy that started like dissing K-Rino and shit. And then all of the K-Rino stands, because man, K-Rino fans is stands, which is awkward. I'm calling y'all stands knowing you're the ones watching me. It's fucking great. They like put this kid on blast, which effectively gave this kid more views / money than he ever would have gotten otherwise. I digress. Pressing, yelling, and question me aggressively, seeking to get the recipe to my expertise. It's a must to see us humiliate artists publicly, subjects to be deep enough to make hate fall in love with me. I love it because he's killing it, but he's also effectively rolling through the sequence of shit, like people hating on him. They want to understand how he manipulates the language, and people basically study his craft so deeply and understand his syllable combining to the point where they're left with nothing, that those haters are forced to fall in love with him because he's that ill. And so it's not just great rhyming, it's pretty crafty and creative ways of saying he's the best. So here's the thing about hip-hop. Hip-hop has about 40 years of motherfuckers saying, I'm the best on wax. The fact that he's able to keep reinventing ways to say it and to be so imaginative with it is why I think K-Rino's interesting. The fact that he can say it without effectively bragging about materialism, without saying fuck, without all of that, you know? The light supplier, expired writer of fireworks, one entire verse can make a glass of water die of thirst. Instead instead what he's doing is he plays a lot on irony. He plays a lot on creating impossibly preposterous shit. And if you believe he's the Grand Wizard and you've gone through his whole catalog and you are into the character that is K-Rino to the depths of what he has crafted for the lore of who he is, this is it. This is the excellence. This is what you want, you know? He spits poison ivy when you try me, and just to sit beside me, you got to show 100 forms of ID. Obviously, none of that's true, but it all sounds pretty fucking dope and imaginative. It's just like stuff nobody else says. So I find it mad interesting. This one is again just another long verse of K-Rino dropping all this shit. And then he's kind of like ends it like, I'm breaking company rules. So confident I can run through these fools lyrically while getting my tonsils removed. I'll steer into jet gear, the exosphere exterior threat here, looking at footage of myself from next year like, yeah, who is this guy? And just that cockiness, like he gets so fucking convoluted that he's like going, man, I don't even understand what I'm gonna become next year. It's gonna be that much more powerful and insane. Even I can't comprehend it. That it's enough to break K-Rino as the future K-Rino. That's what I love about him. He's so consistent to this, and he does it so well, and people love it. 4.5 on 5 is no, sorry, I said 5. I was reading the wrong notes, so I started with a 5 because anyway, this is a great track. I don't have a lot more to say. If you want to hear K-Rino floss for a while, this is the track for you. It is my favorite one on this album, I believe. The next track, though, has a little bit more on the meaning side. Let's talk about Somewhere. Let's have the return of Andrea Maria. So we have now finished our pit stop of exploring K-Rino's greatness to return to the album. But even the title, Connectivity, of the last track's interesting because connectivity is kind of one of the core themes of how to fix the problems in the hood, is to work together and to bridge those gaps. So even though he's coming through and ripping it and showing he's the granddaddy of lyricism, he still managed to, in the title, keep the flow going, and I think that's really sweet. So, following up on the ideas of how to be a man, we get back to the compassion point of remembering why he has no complaints, and a way to almost double down because it's so important to have empathy and to remember. So this starts off with an introduction. Just want to let you know that even though things might be going good for you, I think most of us are in a weird place. Things are going great for me because I can work remotely, but a lot of people are having a hard time. So this song, I guess, is especially speaking to my privileged ass. There's somebody out there that's going through it. Like a lot of people, like a girl hooked me up to get this bar for this show that I'm not doing because of coronavirus. Basically, what we have here is a moment where she lost her job and I still have a job, and that's what I think of instantly. And I'm certain when all said and done, the jobs come back, but it's going to be whack. Billions of dollars are going to get spent. Inevitably, that's going to be bad for taxings and shit in the future and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, maybe we can learn to recognize the suffering that other people have. Maybe we can learn to stop people from going over the edge. So what he's saying here is maybe we can learn to have empathy for the complications that are going on in people's lives that you're unaware of, and learn to even recognize they're going through shit before shit gets super fucking bad in this. And then the whole track is just examples. Like, somewhere there's a family living in a house 2 months behind on the rent, about to get kicked out. A homeless man laying in pain under the freeway, sick, tired, and weak because he hasn't eaten in 3 days. Somewhere a child is in school about to clap back because his clothes are old and he gets roasted and laughed at. Those are powerful examples. So you have a family getting evicted, getting kicked out of their house, a homeless man who's starving to fucking death under the freeway, can't eating, and a kid about to come in with a gat and blast back at his fucking school, killing motherfuckers because he's bullied. You know, a girl's innocence is lost because she was molested. Somewhere out there, a scared pregnant girl's about to abort a child that could have saved the world. It's a man on the edge now against the wall with a pistol to his head getting ready to end it all. These are some real fucking scenarios. Like, he's not holding back. He's dropping some really fucking shit that's really like really hard today. Like, it just ends with a young girl's living happily today, but listen, tomorrow she's gonna be on the news reported missing. And I think it's, again, the external forces, the things that we need to understand are going on in people's lives, because if we are to move forward and to get in touch with our mind vision and to have the level of empathy that we need, this is important to recognize out there. And then you have Andrea doing this like beautiful chorus, you know, somewhere, a lot of pain, a lot of problems, a lot of people in the hole, somewhere, a lot of folks going through it in life, losing control. And I just thought it's really beautiful. You know, don't let the weight take you down. Grab a hold of yourself, man. And it's just like, this call to like kind of understand and keep composure and recognizing what's out there. Second verse, it's another series of serious things like somewhere a woman is in love with a loser, giving money and sex to a ruthless, abusive user. There's a young fella running the streets, robbing to get green, not knowing in a year from now he's going to be serving 15. Somewhere a black dude's hanging out this evening and a white lady's calling the cops on him for no reason. And it just kind of like fucking is hard. It's a bunch of shit, you know. There's people plotting the next war. It's people fucking up the streets. Somebody's making moves that people don't even know he's a snitch for the police. It's a lazy dude, savage as hell, doing some dirt, smashing his wife's best friend when she's going to work. So it's just showing a bunch of shady people, a bunch of bad circumstances. So I like how the tone has shifted from like a bunch of really hard shit to maybe some people who are making bad decisions and being stuck in bad circumstances. And then he flips it. Somebody somewhere is broken, struggling hard, and then they just got a phone call saying they got the job. It's a woman who'd been hurt many times to the extreme, and God just blessed her to meet the man of her dreams. Somewhere a doctor told you wouldn't survive. That was 20 years ago. The doctor dead, you still alive. I like his little funniness there. Fuck that doctor. You still living. And then the rest of this verse is just kind of like people like just kind of winning and sticking it through. So like a proud mother's out there shedding some happy tears, and it's a couple celebrating being married for 50 years. So it's just kind of showing that as much as all these dark things happen and we need to have empathy for the situations in people's lives, it's also a reminder that if you're one of the people, like especially if you're impacted by a coronavirus or something like that, when it's said and done, you're going to end up elevated and being in like this bigger, better place than what you're at today. And I think it's a powerful tune that like kind of speaks to the harsher realities of life and playing into that idea to keep your head up and to culminating some of the earlier ideas explored on this album. I gave it a 4.5. It's a really beautiful track. Maybe it wouldn't be like my go-to, but I find that as I listen to this album, like this is a good album to listen to in full. A lot of these songs wouldn't be ones I would just like throw on to a playlist per se, but I would go back and just listen through this because there's a lot of power in this project. Anyway, the next one kind of breaks away to a sillier, we can call it a more creative story as we talk about a homicide story. So, this track plays out this whole story of a homicide, and it's like K-Rino is like a protagonist, but he's rapping, and the person that's doing the rapping is like talking to him. Like, homicides take place left and right. We hear about a different murder like every night. I got a 3 a.m. phone call, frightening, scared. Somebody on the other line saying Mike was dead. What the hell happened? Mike never shot no slugs. Somebody ran up in the club, did it, pop no love. And they run through it, and basically the whole song is a double entendre track. Y'all know what it is. It's both a Mike, and it could have happened like he was murdering like a guy named Mike, you know. Saw two dudes come on, both of them jumped in, and when it got ugly, things got deep. Mike started making noises and got weak. They were showing no love. They was playing for keeps. The DJ was instigating, kept switching the beat. So, you know, they're passing the mic around. They all fucking saying vile shit at it. They all spitting. And it's making sounds because it's projecting and it's amplifying some voices. And people are like, why is he in the club by himself? I don't know. Wonder if he's there if he ain't know anybody. He's like, I don't know, but it was real bad in the spot. I ain't lying. I tell you, it was sad to watch. It lasted way longer than a couple of minutes, and they threw him on the floor, picked him back up, and finished. And so it's almost like they dropped the mic, you could say. You got a bad whooping because they got, you know, beat the shit out of him in a literal sense, and security was there. They was watching, and then they grabbed him and they strangled him. I don't know. It was really just a fun track to listen to. It goes into more details if you want. Like, I know Mike was that good, but I saw him a lot. Stayed out of people's business, never harassed, but I never seen people step to him in the past. Have seen people step to him in the past. Different places, even when he's minding his own business. It seems like the type of dudes always find him. I feared the first dude when he opened his mouth. He pushed up on it, then he started choking him out. And like, I've seen K-Rino like holding the mic like that all like hard and shit, and like fucking spitting. It was all vile. And then, when it was over, they walked right past me laughing, jumping ahead a bit. The tall guy had a shirt on. It was chilling inside. It was the words on it, K-Rino, killer of mics. Damn, R.I.P. Mike, we gonna miss him. And then, yeah, that's what this track is. I found it to be quite delightful. It's a creative song. Once you go through it and you listen to it, you really don't. I'll be honest. Along the way, it kind of clicked that it was a microphone, but at first it sounds like a real murder, like another hood song. And K-Rino does this ha ha kind of laugh in there, and I like that he kind of still comments on the seriousness of death in the hood, because this is still a satirical song in that regard. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's goofy. Yes, K-Rino killed the mic, but we're still talking about how this could have been just a guy named Mike who could have been killed in the hood, and everything else that was said about the danger of going to a club where you don't know people. These are all still realities, and I think it's interesting how even in like the more complex, goofier kind of side of K-Rino coming through, he's still taking the opportunity to present some of the problems and complications that are in the reality that he's in. Because yeah, it's a fun song, but the undertone is still kind of serious. It's still like a murder that's taking place, and up until the part where the big reveal, it's a microphone, you realize it could just be a guy named Mike that got clipped at a club, and that probably happened. Like the double entendre is both things are real that go down, So I give this a 4.5. It's another great beat. This one is produced by Supreme Tracks as well. It's real nice. Overall, liked it. Let's move on to Newfound Spirit. So I like this one because I feel like we're going into, back to like the core themes of this album, which is effectively how to be a mature, growing adult coping with the realities of life. I think Andrea Maria bounces off K-Rino's voice beautifully, so having her back again on this album is wonderful. South Beats creates a really upbeat kind of boppy tone that really just hooks you in. I really like this one. I feel like it's got a higher level of enjoyment for me than a lot of what's on this album, just because maybe it's the tough times and literally being in a quarantine situation. I mean, we're not literally martial law levels, but effectively, if we don't all self-isolate, we all know that's what's coming. At least in Montreal. But I like how K-Rino just takes these verses. Yeah, I had a hard day yesterday. I saw the streets take another homie's breath away. Now think about the track that came before, Homicide Story. Yeah, that was a fun way of describing murder, but now we're back in the reals. That shit actually happened. So he's on the couch letting slow, sad records play. I'm blessed to say God got me so I never stray. Hey, I'm trying to tamper with my understanding. Frustration is my new companion. I just can't seem to shake the way it treks through me. So what's really cool about this track is that he's almost taking like the objections of what would happen if you were to go to somebody and be like, you need to change your perspective, you need to understand this, that, the next thing, you need to try to live better. Immediately what's going to happen when you take on that new life is this weighed frustration and the complexity of dealing with like the hard shit. Like honestly, so many days on my quest to being a better person, it feels like I go to sleep and wake up and my frustration's still laying next to me. I know what that's like. I'm like a hamster on a wheel about to flame out. I'm running hard, running fast in the same spot. I got dejected, sometimes go into hurt mode because my rewards ain't equaling my workload. I swear this is my life, man. Like I wake up and sometimes when I do the album reviews, it takes like 6 to 8 hours in a day just to get through like a couple of videos, and I'm not trying to complain. I'm really not. I'm saying that you do this for a while and you just feel like your number count's crap. Like it's been shit lately. I'm at a very low growth rate, we'll call it. So sometimes you get dejected. Sometimes you go into hurt mode and you just feel like you're working all the time and it's just not working and it gets rough, and I don't know. Either way, I find myself, as K-Rino describes here, self-counseling with music and some ball play, and all the time working on a mission I can parlay. And I guess that's what keeps me going too, is I have my hobbies in life that keep me focused, and then I keep grinding, and I just know that one day, no matter what's going to happen, it's going to get better. And then that beautiful chorus, I got a dream and a plan just to make it come together. Check, got that coming. And then if I want to make my life better, a hard road ahead, but I got to keep going. No matter what's said, ain't no weaknesses showing. I seen a lot of friends where my pictures got thinner. The losses that I had taught me how to be a winner. So this is, again, if you've listened to the whole album, he's explored a lot of the themes being compounded here. So these are just kind of like the bullet points of some of the earlier tracks, just to kind of put it into perspective again. I wake up every day with a newfound spirit, so every single word that I say, I gotta live it. So I have to live that passion. I have to, take the mantras of a no complaints. Think about how the struggle made me great. Go through all of these self-growth processes. Self-resentment and regret, those are my opportunities. Don't you hate when people interrupt your quiet moments? Opponents. They think that something's wrong with you trying to go for help. No offense, but you don't know me better than I know myself. I sit stoic in my focus trying to regrow it. If I tell you that I'm good, just take my word for it. And then it's like, I can relate to this because I'm not allowed to have a bad day at work. I'm a uppity, happy kind of guy. So when I'm sitting there going through one of my couple of weeks of moodiness here and there where I'm working through some shit, and people don't understand it. What's going on? Are you feeling okay? I'm like, yeah, just leave me alone. I'm not dealing very well, and I need you guys to all effectively fuck off so that I can deal better. But that's just, I kind of related to it again, been in the basement too long. It's time to top floor it. Every now and then I question if it pays for it. I'm starting to wonder to myself, man, the hater's right. So I've been waiting, and despite working day and night, it's seeming like successive chasing and taking flight, but it's because you got power over what's destined. You can't control what's already happened, only the present. Throughout my life, only one thing has become evident. If you accept the lesson, then the hurt becomes the medicine. And I appreciate that too, because you can continue to do things in your life, and as time goes on, you can't change the results of what's happened, but you have the power to learn from that, to take the lessons and the wisdom, and to make better choices in the future, to become a better being that can achieve greater things. And then he has one more verse, as he does, and I love the fact that K-Rino does the 3-verse full song thing. I appreciate it personally. Now, no matter what your disappointments be, rejuvenate and start over the next morning free. Your dude left and you ain't even get a letter from him, let it go and just know something better's coming. Yeah, I know you're going through a rough season, but God takes people out your life for a reason, etc. And he rolls through the verse kind of saying, understand to appreciate that the different bad moments in your life are opportunities for growth and wisdom, to learn, to grow, to be thankful, just to see dates on a calendar move, to be able to appreciate that, loneliness and hard times being alone and growing in its isolation and becoming better for yourself is better than being surrounded by toxic fucks. All things considered, a brilliant track expressing a powerful message worth hearing, well delivered. Everything about this is pretty beautiful to me. 5 on 5. Okay, a couple more tracks on this. K-Rino's going to expand further on something related to the newfound spirit in the next track. Let's talk about flowers. So, following on, the idea of kind of being aware, appreciative, grateful, and everything, something that also needs to be said is to give love and appreciation to the people in your life while they are literally still here. 6 months ago, a year ago, maybe this song wouldn't have resonated quite so deeply in me. Well, that's not true. Maybe a year and a half ago. But 2 Octobers ago, my grandma passed away, and I literally had the opportunity to see her a month before, and I chose to be stupid and not do that, and it was a mistake. And it made me really appreciate when he says life is fragile, Ryan. We can't play around being too big to look somebody that we love in the eyes and say, hey man, I love you, bro. I love you, sis. Because, I turned down seeing my grandma and I put her to track that fundamentally nobody gave a shit about. Should have probably gone to see my grandma. It's time we watching people up left and right. So you got something on your heart, man, go give the folk their flowers while they can still smell them and shit. And I'm like, damn, K-Rino, spitting your wisdom, talking about the right kind of lesson stuff. And that's what I love about it. It's kind of like we've gone through a lot of the more personal development thing, but here's a good way to make sure that your network does have the right people on it, like show appreciation. So check on your people if you love them, and you need to show it. How can we wait for them to die before we let them know it? The most important thing to say to them, we never say. Took them for granted because you used to seeing them every day. Neglecting calls so communication went astray. And it's like, man, it's true. You can see people all the time. You don't say the real shit. You never really say what they mean to them. We don't express these things. I try to at work. People think I'm fucking weird. All the time I try to. Nobody cares. They don't do it back so often. And when they do, I get weirded out. It's like we're not accustomed to it. So when we do receive it, we tend to shut it down, which maybe is a song that needs to be written too. K-Rino, write the song about accepting compliments. Anyway, might not be on purpose. Life got in the way. You're saying to yourself, it's cool, I'll catch them later on. Then you find out that they're gone, and now that chance is gone. So, your feelings come rushing in, wishing to hear their voice or for the hand to touch again. And then you're just kind of stuck, left with the fact that they're gone. And that all you can do is kind of talk. You can't talk to them. You're talking to them now, saying all these words, but they can't really hear you anymore because they're gone. Anyway, the loving words that they gave you didn't give them back. The fact that you didn't tell them, you got to live with that. And so if you don't express it, and especially towards parents or grandmothers or whatever, you're going to have to live with it for the rest of your life, which I'm experiencing now for myself. I can't ever see my grandma again to tell her how important she really was to me. Anyway, give them flowers while they still smell them. It's the chorus. If there's a certain way inside you feel in your heart, then tell them. Never hesitate to say it. Do it when you can. Don't put no flowers on no casket. Put them in their hand. So it's like saying, don't let that be when you come through. Don't make it be like you feel guilty and buy these things. Go be with these people while you have the opportunity to. And then you didn't speak now, and the grief is tearing you to pieces. Now we all printing T-shirts and doing balloon releases, kind of like vigils and murals and painful reason, but never get that kind of attention when they were breathing. And he just runs through this whole verse that kind of just doubles down, and he kind of points out we beef with people, and relationships are often ruined. Friends and family might go years without talking to him. Reconciling is something we ought to start pursuing. Our hearts are moving opposite of the thoughts we doing. So a lot of what he's kind of showing here as he's talking about how we just let all these good meaningful relationships die, and we move on with our little lives, and we just kind of stuck constantly with this growth of guilt and stacking negative emotions as we realize that the list of people we never said those words to is going to grow, and it's like we lose touch with the core people who kind of built our personalities and stuff. We lose touch with, like, I don't even talk to my brother now. If we died today, I'd be okay with it, which is terrible to say, but maybe reconciling with him is the right move and to rebuild familial bonds. Can it happen? I don't know, but maybe if he died, I would be stuck with a fucking heavy load because he did play a part in my life. Go tell your partners you love them while they're standing on two. Ego and hesitation got you in a blind mind until you see that RIP flood in their timeline. And I think the thing is K-Rino's seen this happen a lot, is what you're hearing. A lot of these specifics, like the T-shirts and shit. It's like there's a lot of, I'm sure many people who also just have moments or people individually in their lives right now as they're listening to me talk about this, they can think of that they should also consider the reconciliation with. And I kind of like the fact that K-Rino is able to challenge us with this. There is a third verse. It's not transcribed, so it just kind of continues on with the same motif of the importance of caring about people. I don't know if I missed out on anything. Sorry, I'm a little tired, but I really appreciated this track. I really appreciated it because it got me again thinking and feeling. I really like how he explores these topics in full, like how important it is to not let things get to the point where they're too late, where instead it's like we have to kind of just care about those people. But that ties into a lot of what he's been expressing on how to rebuild communities and how to kind of kill the hood politics. So in a sense, the response to how do we deal with these hood politics is, in a sense, to give people flowers while they're still breathing and trying to change our spirit and show more appreciation and less envy and everything. So I really dig this track. I really think it's cool. I give it a 4.5 on 5. Sorry about the lack of third verse, but yeah, it's kind of going to be in the same vein. K-Rino is a very, very direct guy, and I like that about him. Anyway, next track actually has a powerful message. It's one of my favorite ones on this album, All Things Considered. Let's talk about $1 Million Slave. All right, this song is fascinating because it's targeting rappers, but in a clever way. So I find when underground rappers do that thing where they talk about mainstream rappers, they very frequently come off generic and kind of boring, as in they don't bring anything new to the table. They all end up sounding like each other. Here, K-Rino is taking more the results of y'all are selling your fucking soul for money. And I don't think that can be said enough. I think everybody can say that and it's still facts and it's not boring. This isn't like coming from a place of envy. It's K-Rino dropping this from a place of wisdom, trying to give advice to people, This is how the game is played, no matter how much you got, watch it. When you started out, you was hard. The master gave you a nod. Folks worshipped you like a god, but that was just a facade. You gave the system a try, so now your status is high, but your position is fly, so how you act and comply. You came up out the field hoping to properly build. He showed a lot of skill. His hustle got him a deal, but shortly after, you knew this game was ratchet and cruel, which made you actually lose the happiness you pursued. So what we have here is a young person, probably rapping in a bad situation, doing everything, hustling, showing the game, earning a fan base, getting that buzz, doing all the things, finally getting signed, but realizing that everything that now comes with it, now that you're here, is fucking terrible. They peppered you with the praise, the big revenue every day. You're telling you what to say whenever you hit the stage. So effectively, they control you. They tell you what to do. They watch your tweets. If any kind of topic comes out, you best be fucking saying exactly what is approved. You're not allowed to say things against what they want them to say. Like, you're kind of forced to align with the labels. I think it was Kelly Clarkson actually went on at length after winning American Idol, how fucked up that was. And then they show you their power by punking you in front of the world. Use $1 million slave. Use $1 million slave. So effectively, you can get to millions. You can become rich, but that's not real wealth or power. That's just you got a lot of money, and they can easily take that away from you by fucking up your whole life if you don't play ball. You feeling comfortable because you got the mansions and cars. You get to be at the award shows and dance with the stars. They see you fighting for a cause, and now they sick kick your ass, so they pickle your past instantly and dig up some trash. So you pop and you're doing well, but then they go through and find some bullshit. They hold the dirt over you until you force them to use it. The machine builder can tear it down whenever he chooses. You were not produced to speak truth, or that's just how he views it, because the use of the platforms is only for his amusement. So basically, you're allowed to rap and do what you want as long as you push the narratives that they push, and you do the shit that they expect you to do. Basically, the price for being a good slave is the millions that he pays you. You can't protest, you can't speak out, you can't do anything but except refer to the devil's history as a reference, meaning, white history as opposed to the truth in regards to black history, which is a whole other topic, but I'm just trying to be simple here. 200, 300 million, it don't matter your worth. As soon as you think you're finally going to slam you back to the earth, and I think this is attacking some of the more wealthy black folk out there. Tear you down in the media, then watch the hate ensue. They'll even make your own community turn against you. Use $1 million slave. Kanye West is a good example of who he's talking about here. Effectively saying that if you speak out against anything, they'll destroy you. They'll make people think you're crazy, etc. And then the third verse is like, at the peak of your success, can you still keep your respect? I've seen them put some of the biggest black people in check. You spent your years signing contracts, cashing in royalties, but as soon as they jam you up, you spend them out on lawyer fees. So effectively showing how you lose this wealth and money. So you have all these problems that get arise. The label creates them for you, and they drain your finances through lawyers and this and that's and whatnot. And then kind of like, we'll put you on shit like Fox News to calm the broke slaves down. They just go, look, a black person's there. And I don't know, they just control your whole attitude. They don't let you say some shit, to a point where he gives an example. Do you support Minister Louis Farrakhan? And then the answer is from a rapper, no. So that's the wrong answer. So they basically, what he's trying to show is they'll have people come on and be like, look, Nation of Islam's fucked up and racist. And they use black rappers to say that, because there are a few people out there who do not like him. I don't know enough about him. I know a lot of people think he hates white people. I don't know enough about him personally. I know that K-Rino is really into the Nation of Islam, and so I'm not going to diss that shit. It's not my place right now. I don't know enough. If I ever do know enough to have something substantial to say, we can revisit that. Either way, I appreciate what K-Rino's doing with this track a lot, to a point where I give this a 5 on 5, because I think he's trying to point out that it's not worth it to sell your soul for the millions that come from playing into the system. Look, if you can do it indie, if you can rise up on your own kind of situation, and you can effectively have an independent career where you have your own voice and nobody stops you, that's some real shit. But if you just a puppet where you can't even talk about police shootings or anything like that because it goes against what the label's mantra is, you're just kind of $1 million slave. And I kind of get where he's coming from. It's why I'm grateful I've never signed a contract like that. Anyway, I get this a 5 on 5. Super great track. Awesome. Anyway, one more to talk about. Kind of excited to get through this. It's been a couple months. I've on my mind. I have to do this review. So being here is a good moment for me. Let's talk about Agg Nature. All right, so now we're done with the social stuff. We are back on with one more K-Rino's the shit kind of track. It's a bit of a throwback piece, is what I kind of taking from the intro. See, this mentality was born in South Park a long time ago, and he's saying this over this fire, old school, what I would call like a Southern Texas, Houston sounding beat from Energetics. It's super good. He shouts out some people like Klondike Cat. I don't really know him. Gangsta Nip totally did one of his album reviews, AC Chill, C-Rock, and a bunch of other folk, and that's really cool. He's shouting out the squad that he kind of started with. And then he just raps, and he's doing more of that, like, grandiose, K-Rino's the shit stuff. Like, I'll pack a tablet like it's a strap. I'll split my tongue in half, like concurrently snap on two different cats with two different raps. Think a second and picture that. So what we're picturing is K-Rino with his tongue split, spitting two raps at two separate people. He's fucking anyway. Your spine will be so quickly snatched. Your Rioliac will crack before it hits the map. Not to deny that I'm a popular guy. See, you can lease this ass kicking with an option to buy. And I like the flow in that, the grandiosity, the playing on the popular terms of how car sales would work, but he's really delivering an ass kicking. And I'm so lofty and high, my house sits on top of the sky. Bars injected in your temple made your opticals fry. If they rush you to emergency, the doctor would cry because you're so fucked up. Because K-Rino's bars are gonna fuck you up so hard, it'll make a doctor fucking cry. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this. I feel like he's coming in with the energy. It's flowing through. Then you got the chorus where it's like, garbage man at a game, I'm the trash taker, pen and pad chaser, bulletproof glass breaker. I never panic till I'm down to my last paper to diagnose me with a bad case of the Agg Nature. I'll be honest, it looks alright. It wasn't my favorite. I felt like we could have got a little hyper, but it's cool. I'm sure a lot of y'all are like, fuck you, Holden, that's a hype hook. That's fair. Y'all can like that. I happen to think it's an okay hook with some great verses. So the verses are still great. Just the way he's like, picture my teeth with the spleen loving MC in between. I'm so evil and mean that I smother a breathing machine. I bleed your the way he fucking plays to the syllables and turns his voice into this melodic, beautiful instrument is just wonderful. And the way he slaps through and he's fucking hard and he's just powerful. As I stand, no paper lines balance him like a gymnast. I mix lemon with 56 venoms, and when I'm really pissed, I challenge rappers to pillow fights with bricks in them. And we get a lot of his imagination, and it's a lot of what I would say on the other tracks that are very similar to this. I know this might not sound like the most in-depth experience, but I feel like in a lot of ways, it's just, I could read you K-Rino's bars, but then you should just listen to the track. He says a lot of preposterous and amazing shit. He makes it all rhyme. He does it with a perfect flow. And the truth is, the character that is K-Rino, this thing as an MC, like I look at being an MC as like being a superhero. You invent that shit, you create your character, you put that shit out, and you make it a reflection of your core principles. And his core principles are standing taller than the Andes with countless dialects that come in handy, so even the ants can understand me. And it's just a bunch of shit that rhymes, flows, and does it all proper. I don't know that this is my favorite. Maybe I was just saturated when I got here, but I feel like this might be my least favorite track on the project at a 4.35, but I still think it's brilliant. I still think it's good in terms of the rhyming, but like I said, that hook just wasn't my favorite. That's okay. The beat's still wonderful. And yeah, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up because, yeah, I'm losing a little bit of steam. I love this album. I gave this album a 4.685 on 5. I think it is a brilliant example of K-Rino. I like this a little more than the 4-piece in the sense that was 40-something tracks jammed together. It was brilliant. You can watch me rave about it at last year's videos, but this time I felt like it was a concise project. It just was 15 tracks. It was a good length, and it showcased, like I said, the storytelling side of K-Rino. It shot up the social issues with the messaging, and then he gave us a few tracks where he's the ground wizard fucking bending time and shit with wordplay. It had amazing production that really flowed well together while also maintaining a core story arc that showed almost like how to be mature, how to be ill, the kinds of things. Like even in his brag tracks, if you think about what he's bragging about, there's still even a way to shape what you should be taking pride in. the lack of materialism, the focus on intellectual capacities and pursuits of greatness and stuff. It's just dope. It's just good role model-y dad shit. So yo, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all watching this. I appreciate you giving me your time. I look forward to seeing what your comments have to say. If you give me the time of a comment, I will give you the time of a response. Like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. And special thanks to the patrons Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, Linda Williams, and Scribble. They're dope. They support what we do, helping us get to the next level. Tell us what albums they want. They tell us what albums they want to see us review. So for all of you that are going to request a bunch of K-Rino reviews, sign up to the damn Patreon, and I have to do the K-Rino review. Thank y'all. I really do appreciate it. I make music myself. You can check that out on Spotify. Holden Stephan Roy, The Alternative Grind, working on the next album. We gonna be here for a while, not leaving the apartment, so who knows how many more reviews is gonna come. I'm excited to share that with you. In the meantime, live long and prosper, everyone.